Eggs for breakfast can also nourish your snake plant. Simply crack a few eggs, dry the shells, and grind them into a powder. Sansevieria, also known as the snake plant, is perfect for the home. Not only does it look beautiful, but it also purifies the air from toxins like formaldehyde and benzene. To support its growth, eggshells can serve as a natural calcium-rich fertilizer, promoting healthy cell and root development. Sprinkle dried and ground eggshells over the soil in your Sansevieria's pot once a month, gently mixing them into the top layer of soil. Regular use will help the plant grow new leaves and improve its overall condition, with the natural minerals supporting long-term growth. With this simple trick, your snake plant will not only look vibrant, but will also help improve indoor air quality by absorbing pollutants and producing oxygen even at night. Sprinkle a handful over the orchid. This fertilizer will make it bloom abundantly. You can have beautifully flowering orchids at home if you provide them with the right supplements. I'll show you how to feed orchids. With this fertilizer, they will produce many new buds, be healthy and robust. New flower stems will appear, even on old stems. You'll learn 2 methods that I use to fertilize orchids with one product. Here's the first method. Pour about a cup of rice into a pan and turn on the stove. Heat it in a dry pan for about 3 minutes. It should be lightly toasted but not burned. When it cools a bit, transfer the rice to a blender. Grind the rice grains. Transfer the rice flour to a jar. You can store it this way and take the right amount for orchid fertilization. I take a tablespoon of ground rice and pour it into a bowl. Then, I pour boiling water over it, mix and leave it to cool. During this time, the water will absorb many minerals from the rice. You can also use ground rice with cold water. Pour water into a glass with a teaspoon of ground rice. Leave it for some time to let the water absorb the most valuable elements from the rice. You can water orchids with this water. Thanks to this fertilizer, the orchid strengthens. You can give at least 5 tablespoons to each pot. It's enough to do this once a month. The second method is traditional, using raw rice. Pour water over the rice and let it stand. You can use warm or cold water in this method. In the case of cold water, always leave the rice in the water for a longer time. Use this fertilizer regularly, especially when orchids have flower buds. This way, you'll have beautiful flowers. You'll turn him into the best fertilizer for orchids. Crush the dried piece and pour hot water over it. Use this tea to water your flowers regularly once a month. It will revitalize every orchid. Buds and blooms will multiply like never before. You won't recognize your orchids. Their flowers will be even more beautiful. All thanks to dried banana peels. After eating bananas, don't throw away their peels. Just lay them out to dry on the radiator. You can also use the preheated oven after baking or cooking dinner. This fruit will make your orchids a picture of health, their roots will be nourished, and the leaves beautifully green. This fertilizer is the simplest way to fertilize orchids. It's a vital source of essential minerals like potassium, phosphorus, and calcium. It will save every orchid. Simply divide the dried banana peels into smaller pieces. Pour hot water over a portion of dried banana peels. Close the container. After brewing, let the infusion cool. Use this banana tea to water your orchids. It's a natural remedy that orchids adore. It's full of trace elements that orchids need. They will bloom beautifully all year round. I'm making orchid compresses, and it's developing more and more buds. With each passing year, it's getting more flower stems. The secret to growing such orchids is proper care. So don't throw away the banana peels after eating a banana. They're an incredibly valuable organic fertilizer for orchids. Banana peel contains plenty of potassium, which stimulates the flowers to bloom. You can use it for orchids every 2 weeks. It will nourish the leaves, strengthen the roots, and make the orchids bloom abundantly. Even just wiping the orchid leaves with a banana peel is incredibly useful. The leaves will become shiny and have a beautiful green color because of it. This way, you'll provide them with the necessary nutrients. To encourage bud development, use banana peel in another way. Cut it into smaller pieces. Pay attention to the flower stems and where new buds and flower shoots might appear. Take a piece of banana peel and frog clips. Wrap the banana around that spot. Such a compress will deliver the necessary nutrients exactly where they're needed. It will stimulate the orchids to produce new shoots and flowers. Thanks to these regular compresses, the orchids bloom like those of the best breeders. Remove the dressing after 6 hours. That's all. Repeat the procedure after 2 weeks. Here's how to trim geraniums for winter using the Max 20 method. This will help them bloom even more beautifully next season. It's a quick and simple way to get your plants ready for winter dormancy and spring revival. Remove all faded flowers and any new shoots, as geraniums need to focus their energy on surviving the winter, not flowering. Also, take off any dried or diseased leaves. Geraniums require proper trimming before winter to survive the colder months and bloom beautifully the next year. The Max 20 method involves cutting the stems down to a maximum of 20 centimeters, which helps the plants focus energy on the roots and protects them from diseases. The best time to prune is before the first frost. This way, the geraniums will be ready for winter rest and spring revival. Once trimmed, the plant should have a compact, bushy form. Simply store them in a cool place and reduce watering, and they'll flourish in the spring. Give this to your flowers, and even those scorched by the sun will revive. It's a supplement you can make at home, and it helps all weakened plants. If the leaves of your plants are sunburned or dried out, you can help your plant recover. All you need are supplements that you might already have in your medicine cabinet. Folic acid helps plants maintain healthy metabolism and DNA. Folic acid is also known as vitamin B9. It stimulates growth and accelerates flowering. Glycine is an amino acid that is a fundamental component of plant tissues and chlorophyll. Thanks to glycine, the process of photosynthesis proceeds correctly, resulting in healthy, greener leaves. Take 1 tablet of folic acid and 1 tablet of glycine. Crush them in a mortar and pestle as finely as possible. Transfer the crushed tablets into a container of water. Mix well until they are completely dissolved. Pour the solution into a spray bottle and use it to spray the leaves of the plants, as well as to water them regularly. You will quickly notice an improvement. The plants will revive, become lush and green, and begin to bloom beautifully. Throw it into your geraniums. Just 1 teaspoon will make them regain their color. It's a surprising but very effective method for fertilizing geraniums. Let me show you how to prepare this fertilizer. The most important thing is to save the potato peels when you're peeling potatoes for dinner. Don't throw them away, as they contain essential elements like potassium and magnesium, which are crucial for plant health. These nutrients help stimulate blooming in geraniums. Spread the peels out on a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. It's best to leave the sheet in the sun for about an hour to let the peels dry completely. After that, prepare a grinder for milling. Put the peels into the grinder and grind them. If you have a lot of peels, you may need to repeat this process. The result is a perfect powder made from the peels. That's why it's important to make sure the peels are thoroughly dried. Add this powder to your geraniums every 2 weeks. Just sprinkle it over the plants before watering. You'll be amazed by the results.